Hey everyone, as we welcome in 2015, I couldn't think of a better way of starting off the Nameless and Fameless year than looking back on the year that was 2014. So, today I'm going to give you the 10 films that I thought were the best of the year that has just passed. Keep in mind that this is really based on my enjoyment and when looking back what I remember being better. So the scores I gave these movies might not necessarily represent their rankings in the top 10. So keep that in mind. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to quickly run through some honourable mentions, some movies that I watched and I really wanted to put in the top 10, but just didn't quite cut it. And I also want to run through some movies that have gotten a lot of love throughout 2014, but just didn't come out in Australia in time. Alright, so here go my honourable mentions. The Maze Runner, That Awkward Moment, X-Men Days of Future Past, St. Vincent, Fury, and Foxcatcher. Some of the movies that, you know, they got a lot of love throughout 2014, especially towards the end, but they just didn't come out in Australia in time were Birdman, Into the Woods, Inherent Vice, The Theory of Everything, Unbroken, The Imitation Game, American Sniper, Selma. Also, I just want to say that I did see The Imitation Game, I loved it, and it definitely would have been on this list, but I saw it on January 1st, 2015, it came out on January 1st, 2015, so it just missed out on this list. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. At number 10, I have Wes Anderson's The Grand Budapest Hotel. Now, I didn't love this movie as much as everyone else did, but I really dug it. Wes Anderson's style, it's so quirky and unique. You watch it and you immediately know this is Wes Anderson. Not to mention Ralph Fiennes is hilarious, and the movie is just, it's so unrealistic, but it's a good thing. That's the type of movie it is. It's so kooky and out there, and it's hilarious, it's touching, it's heartwarming, it's a lot of things. Ralph Fiennes is great. Adrian Brody, Willem Dafoe, his best villain since Norman Osborn. It's a really good movie. Like, this goes for any movie that's on this list, but if you haven't seen it, check it out. And number 9 was Marvel's second best movie this year, and only just, it was Captain America: The Winter Soldier. What I really liked about The Winter Soldier was that Marvel had the guts to turn everything on its head. In case you haven't seen it, I won't say what it was, but the plot twist for this film didn't just resonate throughout the film, it resonates throughout the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, which was such a risk, and it changed the game completely. And it's made me that much more excited for this year's Age of Ultron. It's just, I can't believe what they did in this movie. Not to mention there's plenty of action, ass-kicking, and just Chris Evans dominating it. The Winter Soldier was one of the best villains of the year. I love Sebastian Stan in that role. And also, I really liked not Captain Falcon, just Falcon, I don't know what the comic book character's name, but Anthony Mackie as a new character, possible future Captain America. He was awesome, I loved him. This movie was funny, just like all the other Marvel movies. It was funny, action-packed, had good narrative storyline. Robert Redford, also one of the best villains of the year. So yeah, number 9 is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Now this movie only just snuck onto the list at the end. At number 8 I have The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies. Now unlike all the movies that have already been on the list, I've got a review out for The Hobbit: Battle of the Five Armies. I really enjoyed this movie. The whole thing was just one epic battle. It was hands down one of the top action films of the year. But, like I said, in my review, I said that I had some problems with this movie. But overall, Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies was really fun. It was a great send-off for the Middle-earth franchise, since Peter Jackson likely won't be coming back to it. And, well, you know, it made it to number 8 on this list, so clearly they did something right. So The Hobbit: The Battle of the Five Armies, good job. At number 7 was probably, I'm gonna say it, Jake Gyllenhaal's best role yet. He played Lou Bloom in Nightcrawler. Now Nightcrawler, I've got a review out for that as well. I was really into this movie. It was dark, it was brooding, a great film for Dan Gilroy to kick off with as a director. And like I said, Jake Gyllenhaal absolutely owns it. Until I saw The Imitation Game, I thought that Gyllenhaal was the best actor of the year. I think Cumberbatch just edges him out, but the fact that there was a tight competition there and I couldn't choose, it speaks volumes about Gyllenhaal's performance in this movie. He's incredible. I don't even know if he blinked. I'm not quite sure if he blinked in that movie, because he's you look onto the screen and he's not staring into your soul, he's staring straight past it. He's just staring, and it's unnerving. And not to mention, like I said in my review, this movie had the most intense 10 to 15 minutes of the year, hands down, in my opinion. The intensity was just through the roof, and so Nightcrawler takes out number 7 on this list. Number 6 was a movie that was even better than I was expecting it to be. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. It was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, and it not only did it not disappoint, it exceeded expectations. The movie started and they were showing us all this ape culture, and at first I thought I wouldn't be interested, but we pulled away to the humans and I was like, no, screw the humans, I don't like them, I want to see the apes. The progression, the evolution of the apes, the sign language, the talking, they became characters, strong characters in this film, and I really loved it. And the frustration you felt as Jason Clarke and Andy Serkis as Caesar, as the two leaders trying to bring peace to the humans and the apes, but their cohorts, their need for violence, just screwing it up. It's so frustrating but great to watch. Not to mention that end fight sequence, Caesar and Cobra. Wow, possibly the best one-on-one fight of the year. At number 5, I have what I personally thought was hands down not only the biggest surprise of 2014, but the best action movie. It's Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt, Edge of Tomorrow. Now this is a movie I did not want to see. I was like, oh god, Tom Cruise has brought out another action movie, it's another Oblivion type movie, I'm not interested. We're at the cinemas, A Million Ways to Die in the West was on, and so was Edge of Tomorrow. I said to Dad, I begged him, I pleaded him, A Million Ways to Die in the West, I don't want to watch this Tom Cruise movie. He was pretty fixated in watching this movie. We went in to watch it, and I was blown away. This movie was so much fun. It was a very simple action idea that they hatched at and just worked on it until it was extraordinary. The movie is kind of unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen next. I can't speak enough about this movie as an action film. It is so enjoyable. And Emily Blunt steals so many scenes from Tom Cruise. While Tom Cruise, he plays a character he's never really played before. It's like when he came into Collateral and played the villain. In this movie, he's a coward. He's a coward, and I didn't see that coming, but he nailed it, and it was great. Edge of Tomorrow, number 5. Now, number 4, Boyhood. Now, this is the highest rating I gave to a movie all year. I gave it 9 out of 10, because on technical terms, Boyhood is hands down the best movie of the year. Filmed over 12 years, it's an achievement unlike any other in the history of cinema. Boyhood is, I can't even describe it. No other movie, and I'm not exaggerating here, it gives you something that no other movie ever can give you. You get to literally watch a child grow up. You watch him learn lessons, you watch him face life head on, which is something we all go through, but to watch someone else handle that, it's quite surreal. And Boyhood was just incredible. It's not in the top 3 because I enjoyed the top 3 more, which is why I said, looking back, I chose the movies that I enjoyed the most. Boyhood was a great movie, I enjoyed it a lot, but not quite as much as the top 3. That being said, Richard Linklater, Best Director. Hands down. This year at the Oscars, I'm calling it, he's going to win Best Director, and if he doesn't, they've screwed up big time. Alright, at number 3, probably my equal most anticipated movie of 2014, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Going into this movie, I knew nothing about it. About midway through this last year, I decided, alright, no, I'm not watching any more trailers. I'm going to go into these movies not knowing what comes next. And Interstellar was probably my first experiment with that, and boy was it good. There were so many aspects of this movie that weren't given away in the trailers at all. I went into this movie, within 10 minutes I was like, alright, so basically I don't know what's going to happen next. It was a wild ride, and some parts may have been a little unsatisfying. I wasn't quite the biggest fan of how it ended, but the fact remains that from start to finish I was thoroughly entertained. It had twists, turns, had some big surprises. Not to mention, I couldn't get it out of my head for a week. This movie was stuck in my head for a week. I just could not stop thinking about it. And that's a testament to any movie. So Interstellar, number 3. Okay, it took a long time to narrow it down, this top 2. They kept switching, but eventually I came to a decision, and so Guardians of the Galaxy takes number 2. Man, I absolutely adored this movie. It was so much fun. It was more fun than any other movie this year. The characters came together perfectly. The story came together perfectly. The moments, they were filled with laughter and sadness and emotion, and just, there was so much about this movie that was just perfect. This movie just felt so right. It, to me, was like the Star Wars of this generation. And I'm pretty confident in saying that I think this is the best movie Marvel has ever made. And if not for The Dark Knight, I'd say that this was the best superhero movie ever made. Yes, I reckon it's better than The Avengers. Chris Pratt, instant superstar. Dave Bautista made a good transition into acting. Bradley Cooper, he's unrecognisable as Rocket Raccoon, but he absolutely kills it. I didn't think Rocket was going to be a character I liked too much, but I loved him. He was one of my favourites. Groot, he's got like, he says like a variation, I think like 5 different words throughout the whole movie, but he's probably the most heart-wrenching character. He's just so purely good, and it's beautiful to watch him. And then Gamora, she brings a lot to it. A lot of the action, Gamora drives it. It's just, they all complement each other so much, and this movie was just a ball. I watched it again about a month ago, and it didn't lose any of its flavour. It's still great, so get out there, watch it again. If you haven't seen it, get on it the first time. Guardians of the Galaxy, second best film of the year, hands down. Alright, number 1, I loved this movie so much, Gone Girl. Now this was probably tied with Interstellar. This was my most anticipated movie of the year. David Fincher, he's my favourite director, and he did not let me down with this one. In fact, this is, to me, this is tied for me as to what his best movie would be. And, like, Ben Affleck nails it. Rosamund Pike, holy crap! She is terrifying, she is sexy, she's perfect in this movie. I've never felt so many different emotions towards one character, and it's incredible to watch. Tyler Perry comes in, he's got this dark humour that somehow just fits. This movie, it's about a woman who goes missing, possibly dead, and this guy's coming in, he's making jokes, and it fits. The suspense, the tension of this movie, I can't, oh my god, it's just so intense. And there's the one scene of Rosamund Pike and Neil Patrick Harris, and anyone who's watched it, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about. It's the most intense, full-on moment of the movie, and just, wow. I remember sitting in the cinema, and when that scene happened, I'm just jumping around in my seat. I'm like, I didn't know what to do. Because I perked up, and I didn't know what to do with my hands. The scene was so intense, I did not know what to do with my hands. It doesn't make sense at all, I understand that. But to me, that signifies, oh, it's so intense! So yes, Gone Girl was, in my opinion, the very best movie of 2014. Alright everyone, let me know what movies are left out of the list. Let me know what movies should have been way higher. Let me know what you agreed with. Let me know what you thought was the best movie of 2014. As we come into 2015, you can look out for my most anticipated movies of 2015 video, which should be coming up shortly after this. In the meantime, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Until next time,